Hello there guys, it's Mchose here. Welcome back to another product review, and today I'll be doing a review on two mouse actually, the ATK A9 Plus and the Mchose G3. So per my usual disclaimer, Mchose and ATK did not send these mouse out to me. I bought the ATK with my own money, and the Mchose is lent out to me by a good friend of this channel. If you're an OG, you know who he is, so appreciate the help. This video would not be possible without him lending me the Mchose at all. And again, I bought the ATK by myself on Respawn Gaming Tech. So huge shout out to W local shop here. Before I start with the review, let's talk about the packaging. I do not have the packaging for the Mchose G3 unfortunately, so I cannot tell you how it looks like, what's inside, and all of that stuff, so I apologize. But the A9 box is a very simple black box with a silhouette of the mouse itself in an orange highlight, and there's not much inside the packaging. You only get the mouse, the dongle itself, a cable, and the grip tapes. You don't even get a dongle adapter, like an extender. I have to use my own, so quite unfortunate. This doesn't even cost them that much. I wish they would have just included it even on the cheapest model. So yeah, if you want more goodies on the A9 series, you have to go for the Pro and the Ultra. I think those come with extra skates and even the dongle extender itself. So let's start and talk about the shape of these mice, which is one of the most important thing about gaming mouse in general, and they are both Logitech popular mouse clone, a Superlight clone and the G305 clone. Now for this review, I do not have a Superlight anymore. I sold all of my Superlights, so I don't even have a single one to compare it, but the G305 will be compared to a $4 Logitech G305 clone. So I did this review back in like 2021 just for the fun, and comes back around. It's helping me compare the G3 now, which is good. And I think the shape wise is pretty much identical. If you're looking at the G3 as a replacement for a G305, or if you want to try a G305 shape but you don't want to pay Logitech for such a heavy brick in 2025, the G3 is pretty much one-to-one. The length is identical, the width is identical, the height of the hump is also identical, and the way that it retains the bulginess on the side walls like the OG 305 is also identical. So if you want to try a G305 in the modern days, or if you want to replace your G305 with something more modern, the Mchose G3 is like one of the options that you should go for. Now speaking objectively, the length of the G3 is 116 millimeter in terms of its length, 62 millimeter, 63 millimeter on its width, and then 38 millimeter on its peak, which is more towards the back of the mouse. I have a 19 by 10.5 centimeter hands. I automatically relax claw grip the G3. Not my favorite shape of the world. I do not like the side walls on the G3 at all. It's very uncomfortable for a long session of gaming. I much prefer it to be slightly flatter, or even just make it more curvier inwards so it feels much more comfortable. Like on the right side, it doesn't really bother me that much. I mean, on the thumb, it doesn't bother me that much, but on the right side, it feels like I'm digging inside the mouse, and it's really uncomfortable just for long session of gaming. But this isn't a unique issue on the G3. The G305, which is the clone that is trying to replicate, also have that issue, which I just do not like in general. So if you are someone who like the G305, this would be amazing because it's one-to-one. They even copy some of the things that I don't like personally, but I do wish I get a slightly flatter version on the G3. Now the ATK A9 Plus is a Superlight clone, so it's a medium-sized potato of a mouse with 125 millimeter in terms of its length, 64 millimeter on its width, and 40 millimeter on its highest point, which is more towards the middle for its hump. And with the 19 by 10.5 centimeter hands, again, I relax claw the A9 Plus. Now the A9 suffered the same issue that I have with the Superlight, that it's a safe shape, so it doesn't have any curvature or anything that makes it more consistent for me to use it day to day. And without grip tape, I just suffer to play with the A9 Plus, and it's the same with the Superlight as well. Because if you own a Superlight, you can try this out. Just hold the mouse in a way, and then go wash your hand, go to the kitchen, walk around a little bit, and then when you come back, 9 out of 10 times your hand will not stay in the same position that you started with on the Superlight shape. So with grip tapes, it helps me out a lot, especially on grip tapes that has mark like this. It's mental, right? I go on my mouse, I just want to I want to hold it on the black spots and all, and it helps me with the consistency issue that I have with the Superlight. And for the past 3 months, I've actually been enjoying using the mouse in just competitive Valorant. It's really good. So I would say that grip tape is really necessary for the Superlight shape, even though I don't really use grip tape in the current scene, especially with how good coding is. Let's say again, both mouse is very true to its clone, or the mouse they're trying to clone. They're pretty much identical in a way. I do not have a Superlight, but this feels just like a Superlight to me, and checking the measurements and 3D model scans around, it's pretty much just a Superlight. Now let's talk about the build quality, and I would say that the Mchose actually feels much better than the A9 Plus because of one reason. There is no popping or creaking when you're pressing really hard on this mouse. There's no flexing at all as well, which is really, really good. But the A9 Plus does suffer from it being able to actuate the back side buttons when you're pushing really, really hard on the mouse wall. But granted, I've been using this mouse daily for the past 3 months, and sometimes even when I do def grip, I was not able to actuate the side buttons at all. You really need to put a lot of pressure for it to be actuated, which is really unrealistic in a game scenarios. But it's just something that you have to keep in mind. You can actuate this, and from reviews I've seen online, it seems like it's a very common issue with the A9 Plus. As long as it doesn't affect my gaming session, I think it's perfectly fine in terms of build quality. Yeah, no flexing top to bottom, so pretty good as well. And the button has very minimal side to side, which is again very, very good. Now speaking of the button, actually let's go to the coating first. The A9 Plus has a very nice rubberized coating. This reminds me a lot of Logitech's coating. Not too grippy, but not creepy, so it's a good middle ground. It's not as good as something like Endgame Gear's coating or even Zowi's coating. Those two are much better, but it's better than none, which the Mchose G3 does not have. This thing has raw, bare texture plastic, so unless you can get a consistent grip on this thing, get grip tapes, it probably will help you out a lot in this scenario. But it's still a pretty nice feeling plastic. It doesn't feel cheap, but it doesn't have any coating. So let's talk about the switches and the buttons now in general. We'll talk about the A9 Plus first. The M1 and M2 is using what they're calling Huano Iceberry pink dot, but it's basically a transparent pink shell pink dot switches. And as someone who has been a big fan of blue shell pink dot, this thing feels like a much more louder, tactile, and heavier version of a blue shell pink dot, and I quite enjoy it. I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. Like, I would still pick blue shell pink dot over this, but it's actually not bad. I don't hate it at all. It sounds very loud, but it's tactile, it's very clicky, and it's very, very, very fast. You can hear I'm spamming it very quick there. But because of the lack of pre and post travel, M1 and M2 honestly just feels like a very premium feel on the mouse. It feels really, really good. I've had mouse cost more that struggles from worse click syndrome, so I would say M1 and M2 is actually quite nice. The F switch scroll wheel encoder here is also quite good. There's not much rattling to it, but it is a very loud scroll wheel, so if you don't like loud scroll wheel, this will turn you down. I personally really enjoy it. And the middle click is very light to actuate, so you can spam middle click if you ever need to. And the side buttons is probably one of the best thing about the A9 Plus, much better than Superlight, 100%. There's very slight post travel on both M4 and M5, but very minimal pre-travel, and they're very clicky and tactile. Like, how can Logitech release a mushy side buttons when A9 just released a very nice clicky and tactile side buttons? I really enjoy the side buttons on the A9 Plus. The G3 unfortunately suffer the complete opposite thing. It's very horrible in terms of M1 and M2 feeling. The click implementation is just not that great on the G3. There's a lot of pre and a lot of post travel, and it's probably the switches that they're using as well. It feels very tinny almost. It's like a very cheap office mouse feeling switches. I don't really like how this feels and how this sound. And the side buttons has a lot of post travel, especially for how tiny they are, and I'm just not a big fan on the side buttons as well. The scroll wheel is actually quite nice. It has a very nice weight to it in terms of scrolling. It's not too loud, which is good if that's what you want. And the middle click is on the medium actuation side, so I'll say the button implementation is better on the A9 Plus compared to the Mchose G3, but again, it could just be because I have the cheapest version of the G3 and like the third expensive option on the A9 Plus. So if you buy the more expensive G3, you'll get better switches, yada yada yada, of course, all of that stuff. Now let's talk about the performance, the sensor, and how well it performs in game, in Valorant, and in tracking games like Apex for me. And personally, the 3395 sensor that is being implemented on the ATK A9 is really good. It has all of the normal ATK A9 stuff. I mean, all the normal 3395 stuff that you expect from Chinese mouse. It goes up to 1000 Hz polling rate only. But in gaming scenario, I have noticed no issue at all, no latency, no jitteriness, no delay, no skipping, and it doesn't feel like I'm fighting something. That it doesn't feel floaty. It's a very snappy feeling sensor and accurate enough in games that I actually trusted in a lot of my scenarios. Like, there are just some mouse that doesn't perform that well, but the implementation on the ATK A9 is actually really good. Now, there is one bug that bothered me a little bit at the beginning, and it's the tracking on glass pad. If you lift the mouse on 1mm lift off distance, it just wouldn't track at all, and I don't know why. I don't think it's a problem with the sensor. It probably is, but when I use the A9 Plus on mousepad like the ES1, the Saturn Pro, the RGT mousepad, Tempest Soft, all of my cloth basically, I have no issue with tracking at all. Everything feels good. Even on a very graphic intensive pad, it was completely fine to me. And then the moment I put on my glass pad, it just wouldn't track. So I had to change the LOD to 2mm for it to track. And that's just something that I had to figure out because I was very annoyed I couldn't use this on my glass pad at all. Aside from that, there's not much things to talk about. It's a sensor. It's a good sensor. There's really nothing much to talk about sensor nowadays. It performs well. It performs great in game. Now the G3 uses a 3311 sensor, and this could be a bit more interesting because it's a budget end sensor, so there could be some sort of issue that comes up with cheaper options, but the implementation of the 3311 is actually quite good, much better than the implementation on the Attack Shot R1 that I've tested. So I would say that the 3311 here feels good, no issue on all my cloth pad and my glass pad. Tracks perfectly fine, zero latency, zero issue, no floatiness, especially in tracking heavy scenarios. So I would say the sensor performance is good. And wireless performance, I again always have my download in front of my mouse pads, so I never notice any drop-offs, any jitteriness that can cause from wireless interference. And I also tested it with like a lot of mouse on my table, trying to see if you have a lot of wireless peripheral, if it will like struggle, but it never did. So I would say that it's a good thing there. It also has Bluetooth if that's what you're into, but I'm not, so I don't really care about Bluetooth. Now let's talk about the mouse skates. I do not know how this feels like on the stock skates. I don't own it. He gave it to me like this, I'm sorry, but the A9 Plus surprisingly has a pretty good stock skates. Now I took it off to see what switches and encoder it was using, the battery, how big it was and all that, but when I close it, of course it doesn't come with any extra on the box. I don't get, just give me one. It's not that much to ask, just give me one extra skate and I'll be happy. But of course they didn't give it on the cheaper models of these mice. You have to buy the Pro, the Max, the Ultra for you to get all of those goodies. But the skates is actually quite good. I personally wouldn't recommend switching it because you're already buying a $40 mouse. You wouldn't want to buy like another $15 to $20 skates per se, not 20 but like $15, $10 skates, right? So I personally wouldn't recommend switching it, but if you're like me and you want to change it, the Awi Powi Magic Eagle here feels very good. It's overpower, I'm pretty sure, but Awi Powi sounds funny. But yeah, the stock skates perform really well on all of my cloth pads, except on my glass. Of course, it's very scratchy, but I think that's because of the surface area and thus dirt just gets under it very quickly. Now the battery life on these mouse is very good. Now I cannot actually comment on the stock configuration of the Mchose G3 because this is very heavily modded. It has a 300 mAh battery instead of the original 500, but the ATK A9 does have its original 800 mAh battery, and I can say that the ATK A9 can last you about a week and a half, which is really good, but you also expect that from such a big battery. 800 mAh is a big battery on a mouse nowadays. But the Mchose G3, because it's modded with 300 mAh battery, I was able to get less than like 5 days of battery life, which is still good enough. But with the original 500 mAh battery, you can probably expect roughly about a week. A week seems like a pretty solid battery life for the G3, and you get a week and a half, close to 2 if you're not using it that much on the A9 Plus, which is again really good. There's really not much to talk about these two mouse aside for the shape that they're copying, again, the 305 clone, very good. Not for me, unfortunately. I just never liked the 305 egg shape design. Like if we're talking about egg shape, I much prefer something like the Zalpin Z1 Pro, smaller with the curvature at the thumb side, very comfortable, really nice shape to use. Much prefer this over the 305. And then the A9 Plus being a Superlight clone, you're really just getting it because it's a Superlight clone, right? But there's a difference here. The G3 really, there's only two options on the 305 clone. Either you buy Mchose or you buy Attack Shark, and I personally would buy which one is cheaper and better. But with the Superlight clone, there's just so much option nowadays. There's the Incod G23 V2, there's the A9 Plus, there's something from Mchose, the A7, there is all those OEM shells, so you could be more widely open with what you want to pick for the Superlight clone. But if you want a G305 clone, this is like the only good ones, I'm pretty sure, especially by the Ultra and the G3 V2. I just don't really see any other 305 clone that is being that's been popping around recently. You know, I could be wrong, so if I'm wrong, you know, tell me in the comments section below. I love to chat about 305 enjoyers and 305 clones in the future. But I think that's about it. If you have any other question that I didn't mention in this video, that I didn't, you know, say in this video, leave them in the comment section down below. I'll try to answer them as soon as I can, as fast as I can. And if you like this video, leave a thumbs up, it helps me out a lot. And subscribe if you haven't already. I haven't uploaded that much recently, but I still appreciate all the support that I can get. And well, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.